In honor of its 50th anniversary, I'm checking my last Mel Brooks movie off the list. Hey, I'm Amy and welcome or welcome back, and today I am checking the producers off the 1001 movie checklist. If you do not know what the 1001 movie checklist or 1001 movie challenge is, it is basically a challenge I give myself to watch every single movie from the 1001 movies you must see before you die book. So far, I have checked 158 movies off the list. If you would like to know more, you can check out a playlist of every single movie I have checked off and the intro video up there. I am also an Amazon affiliate, so if you would like to start the challenge for yourself, buy the movie I'm talking about today, or get ready for the movie I'm going to be talking about next time, you can check the link in the description. If you purchase anything from those links, I will get a little bit of a kickback, which helps make this channel even better. Before I really get started on this, I want to apologize because there are probably going to be some construction noises in the background because they are redoing the apartment, or they're updating it or whatever right behind this wall, so there's probably going to be a lot of noise. It's been happening all day, and I don't know when it's going to stop. I thought they might have been taking their lunch break right now, but who knows? So if you hear some noise, I apologize. As always, let's get started with a short summary. Down on his luck, theatrical producer Max is forced to romance rich old ladies to finance his plays. When the timid accountant Leo is sent to review Max's accounting books, the two find a way to make a fortune by producing a play that is sure to be a flop. I know at the top of this I said that it was the 50th anniversary of the original producers movie written and directed by Mel Brooks, but when I was starting to do my research on this, I noticed on Wikipedia and on Google they said that the premiere date of this was November 22nd, 1967, which would make November 22nd its 51st anniversary, but in the book and pretty much everywhere else I've ever seen it, I think on IMDb, well, pretty much the book in IMDb, it says November 10th, 1968 is the day it premiered, or the day it was released. Maybe it was the day it was released on physical copy, like home video. So I'm gonna go with that because the book has it in the 1968 section, and IMDb lists it as 1968, and I trust IMDb more than I trust Wikipedia. So I'm going to go with that and say that this is the 50th anniversary of Mel Brooks' first movie. Or at least next Saturday is the 50th anniversary of this movie. And speaking of Mel Brooks, I love him. I've done only one Mel Brooks movie, I believe. Yes, only Blazing Saddles. I have done for this series, but I have watched every Mel Brooks movie on the list, which I think is just Blazing Saddles, The Producers, maybe Spaceballs? No, I don't think Spaceballs is on the list. But I've seen pretty much every single Mel Brooks movie that's on the list, and it's fitting that my last one to check off is his first ever film that he wrote and directed. This movie did not really get great critical acclaim. It was, everybody did not like it, but I feel like that is what happens with most Mel Brooks movies because they are usually fairly vulgar and I would say sometimes pretty offensive. This one is probably his least offensive one, even though it is about Hitler in a roundabout way. So what I'm trying to say, the long way around, is that I knew going into this I would probably really love it. And it's got Gene Wilder in it too, which I love Gene Wilder. We all know this. Willy Wonka is probably one of my favorite movies of his, even though it scared me to death as a child. But I love pretty much all of his work. Actually, I just realized the other movie that was on this list, I think, is Young Frankenstein, another Gene Wilder movie. All three of Mel Brooks' movies on this list are Gene Wilder movies. They have a great collaboration, kind of like Scorsese and DiCaprio, or Scorsese and De Niro. Two of my favorite combinations. Besides all of that, I really, really love this movie, and I feel like it might be it's probably one of my favorite Mel Brooks movies to date. I do really, really love Spaceballs, but this was just, it had this really subtly funny undertone to it. To me, the reason it was the most funny is because this is a movie written by a Jewish filmmaker about a Jewish Broadway producer, jeez, can I talk today, who produces a play about Hitler. I think that is the most outrageous, outlandish movie premise not in the history of the world, but it's a pretty outlandish thought to have a Jewish filmmaker write a movie about a Jewish producer making a play about Hitler. Like, I can't wrap my hand around it, but I've seen it, so I can. and it's really crazy. But the funny part of this is, the entire time I was watching it, I've only seen bits and pieces of the Nathan Lane and Matthew Broderick version of this movie, which came out, in the 90s? 2000s? 80s? I don't remember when it came out. But I've only seen bits and pieces of that movie. But as I was watching it, I could see, and I don't remember much of that one, but I could see Nathan Lane as Max, and I could see Matthew Broderick as Leo. And it was so weird to see how both of these different movies were very similar in the same way, and how the characters and how the actors portrayed the characters very similarly. I know Nathan Lane and Matthew Broderick probably pulled their performances from these two original performances that were so good. Zero, I don't remember his last name. I should know his last name. But the actor who played Max was amazing, and in my research I found out this was his first movie since being blacklisted, which if you don't know what blacklisting is, it's basically when you are not allowed to work in the industry anymore because of some probably really radical reason. He had, I don't remember exactly what it was about him that got him blacklisted, but this was his first movie back, and I feel like it was a very fitting movie to come back to. I do want to talk a little bit about the relationship between Max and Leo. It is a very strong odd couple relationship. You can really tell right off the bat how big of an opposite force each of them is towards each other. They basically are complete opposites of each other, but because they are complete opposites, they fit and work really well together. And I love the way that they are shown how different they are at the very beginning, and then how well they work together later on, especially at the very end when they are running their same scam in the prison.
Prisoners of love, blue skies above, can't keep our hearts in jail. Prisoners of love,
you now own 20% of Prisoners of Love. Congratulations. Yes, sir.
And to kind of round this all out, my favorite part of pretty much every Mel Brooks movie is the comedy portion of it. This just, I don't know the word for it. It just emanates. That's the word. It just emanates pure Mel Brooks, understated, very sly comedy. Like, it's very funny, and you can see that it's funny, but it's just because it's so understated and it's told in such a straight-faced way that it makes it even more funny, at least to me. And that's probably my favorite type of comedy, is just when it's just told in a very sarcastic manner. But here's just a montage of some of my favorite little funny moments.
I'm hysterical. I'm having hysterics. I'm hysterical. I can't stop when I get like this. I can't stop. I'm hysterical. I'm wet. I'm wet. I'm hysterical and I'm wet. I'm in pain and I'm wet. And I'm still hysterical. No, don't hit. It doesn't help. It only increases my sense of danger.
Who do you want? No one gets in the building unless I know who they want. I'm the concierge. My husband used to be the concierge, but he's dead. Now I'm the concierge.
what is your name? Lorenzo, baby. Lorenzo St. Dubois. But my friends call me LSD.
And even though this is so funny, it is very problematic at some points. But it's also some of the just stereotypes of a Mel Brooks movie, like the sexy Swedish assistant. That is something that's pretty much in every single Mel Brooks movie. The director cross-dressing is something that today probably wouldn't be looked at as funny. It would be looked at as kind of tasteless humor. Back then, it may have been funny like in the 60s, but now it probably is just like, that's kind of tasteless.
Now, don't let anything he says or does upset you. He's a little peculiar.
And of course, all of the Nazi stuff. It is very problematic, especially in today's political climate. If this movie was made today, it would be seen as very problematic. Like, if this was made for the first time, not a remake like the Nathan Lane and Matthew Broderick one. Can they not?
The next day.
Okay, I'm just gonna keep talking because I don't got much time. The Nazi stuff, if this was a new movie set today, and well, I don't know if it was set today, maybe if it was even still set in the 60s, but it was made today. And this one and the remake with Matthew Broderick and Nathan Lane was not made at all. The Nazi stuff would be seen as very problematic. Even though that is kind of the whole point in the movie, it is seen as problematic. The entire play, nobody likes it at first because they're singing about a happy time for Hitler, and he's a horrible human being. You don't want that. But this is also something that Mel Brooks does very well, is play on stuff that could or will or is problematic at that time period. And because this was his first film, this is just a taste of what will come. And for me, some of the World War II Hitler versus Churchill jokes just didn't quite land. They are a little bit dated, but again, this is a movie from the 60s, but it was funny to me because I love learning about World War II and history, and the 60s, 50s, 60s, 70s is like kind of my favorite genre of film and TV anyways, because like my favorite show is I Love Lucy, so I love that era of television, film, history in general. It's very intriguing to me, so I like those jokes, but I know if I was watching this and I didn't like that kind of stuff, it probably would have fallen a little flat and a little outdated to me.
It is because that you were taken in by that verdammte Allied propaganda. Such filthy lies, they told lies.
But nobody ever said a bad word about Winston Churchill, did they? No, win was winning!
And I could not decide on a clip for this. I couldn't choose. There are so many great parts and so many iconic parts in this. And I wanted to do the entire Springtime for Hitler, but it was too long and I would have definitely gotten flagged for it. So I just picked the clip that made me laugh the hardest when it happened.
There's no avoiding it.
Mr. Bialystok, not more than 5 minutes ago, I doctored your books. That, sir, is the ultimate extent of my criminal life.
Wow! I want that money!
Oh, I fell on my keys.
And that is all I have for the producers. As always, these are just my opinions, but I would love to know yours in the comments down below. What is your favorite Mel Brooks movie, or what is your favorite Gene Wilder movie? Or just let me know your thoughts on the producers in general. If you want to know which films I have already watched, or just follow my progress along in general, there's a link to a Google Doc in the description down below with every single movie I have checked off the list so far. And it only seems natural to go from a comedy about a musical to watching one of the saddest musicals ever put to a movie, Les Miserables. And thank you guys so much for watching. I really truly do appreciate every single one of you. Let me know who you are in the comments down below, and let's be friends. If you enjoyed this, leave a like and subscribe if you're new, because I love talking all things movies, TV shows, filmmaking, film history, all that fun stuff, and I'll see you next time. Bye!